welcome on in. It is a Tuesday, February 17th of 2026. And good morning to you. Joan, you were talking about this. Dan Mandis here along with Joan Jones, Sam Rutherford producing. Joan, you were talking about this shooting in Rhode Island.
Yes.
So the Daily Mail has this headline. Chilling warning signs before narcissistic trans dad shot ex-wife and kids in hockey game bloodbath. So this guy, you're reporting on this, the guy is trans. He goes to this youth hockey game in Rhode Island, and he shoots his family. Guy's name is, as you reported, Robert Dorgan, 56, who also went by the name Roberta Esposito.
Or Roberta Durango. Sometimes you need a different name. Like when you change your nail polish?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, and who wants to be named after anything more better than a Dodge SUV?
So apparently there were all kinds of warning signs. He shared an eerie, this is from the Daily Mail, and apparently he shared an eerie video of a woman running on a treadmill while loading ammunition magazines into a handgun and aiming. In another post on X, a profile for Roberta Durango, there you go, threatened to go berserk while defending transgender Congresswoman Sarah McBride. Keep bashing us.
Timothy.
What's that?
It's Timothy McBride.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, fine, whatever. I got it. He says, keep bashing us. So this is what the Daily Mail, right? Keep bashing us. They wrote on Sunday. So now they're playing into it as well. But do not wonder why we go berserk. And the word berserk is in all capital letters. Just hours after the shooting, a woman who claimed to be Dorgan's daughter claimed the gunman has mental issues. He shot my family. He is dead now, the woman told local television WCVB. Dorgan's wife, Rhonda, who was reportedly killed in the shooting, claimed on divorce documents that her husband displayed narcissistic and personality disorder traits. Pawtucket Police Chief Tina Gonclaves said Monday night the Dorgan entered the Dennis M. Lynch Arena to watch a high school hockey match. The attacker then opened fire at about 2:30 p.m., and they've got all kinds of photographs of this guy. Big dude. Tattoos all over the place, and yes, he's in a dress.
And a nice gravelly face that was shaved 2-3 days ago.
So it got a little stubble?
Yes.
Well, yeah, and they've got this photograph of this guy entering the Dennis M. Lynch Arena. He's got like a pink tank top on.
Yes.
With
that's a blouse, Stan.
What's that?
It's a blouse.
Okay. And he's got a sleeve. Now, if you know what a sleeve is, it's an armful of tattoos. And I don't know, he's got some man boobs there. I don't know if those are fake or real.
No, they're fake. He did the whole transition.
All right. So, of course, I would like to know a number of things. Of course, what kind of drugs was he on?
Wait, Joan, you're saying that Durango comes with airbags?
It comes with airbags.
Well done, Sam.
Sam for the win.
Sam for the win. Let's see here. So apparently he killed his ex-wife. They say also a family friend. 3 others were left in critical condition at a
Those
local...
are his kids.
Okay.
So, I love the way, and by love I mean hate,
right.
The way that media is spinning this as a domestic dispute and that 3 other people were shot and hospitalized.
Anything of this situation technically a domestic dispute?
Yes.
We just had that shooting in Canada.
Yeah.
So I guess, and I'm going to be honest with you, man, I'm losing track. I mean, you want to start talking about the ratio of transgenders that are taking part in these horrific crimes. I mean, just in Canada. Was that last week, Joan?
That was, yes, last week.
Last week? So last week we had that shooting in Canada that killed 8, including 7 kids. That was also a transgender. The guy then shot himself. A couple dozen people injured as well. I mean, I don't know how many more of these things Well, we don't need to see any more of these things. We already know that it seems pretty clear to me that if you start looking at ratios, we have a violence problem in the transgender community.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, clearly.
And, I mean, is it unreasonable to link the drugs that are taken?
No, Joan, that is what I always say. There's a number of things here.
The hormones.
The drugs. We could start talking about, obviously, clearly, the anger issues as well. Some of these people, and I don't know how far this dude Dorgan went, but or whatever his name was in Rhode Island. I don't know how far he was in this whole transition thing. But oftentimes, these people also are angry because they've done this whole transition and, oh, shock, their problems are still there. And oftentimes, they are magnified. So they went through whatever transition they had to go through. They went through whatever it is that they needed to go through. And then they realized, and a lot of these folks realize this, they realized that the transition didn't solve their problems.
Right.
And so now they've got anger issues, Joan.
These kids that they father before their decision, they had nothing to do with that decision. Leave them alone. My goodness, get out of their lives. Let them live their lives as if they have some normalcy. Well,
so the family says that the guy had some narcissism issues. And so I would be willing to bet, and this is just me talking, but I'd be willing to bet that the kids were just completely, utterly disgusted with what their father had become. And so they probably, and I don't know how old the kids were, but the kids probably didn't necessarily want to spend a lot of time with dad. So they made the decision to spend more time with the mother. Perhaps the father got angry, and he's already, perhaps whacked out on hormones or whatever it is. He's also got anger issues. And so then he decides to do something completely irrational, like shoot his ex-wife and the kids. Yeah. So, I mean, does that sound far-fetched?
I think you're on the money because the mainstream media narrative is, the trans people are being genocided and everything is anti-trans from the straight community, which, we don't even identify as a community. We're just people. And it's like, we just want you away from the kids. And so they feel that they have to start riling up. And there's all this narrative on Blue Sky, of course, of people of that ilk calling for the violence, being okay with the violence. And we have active legislative proposals here in Tennessee that they would deem genocidal towards what they believe in.
I would be curious to know this guy, Dorgan, how many friends does he have on whatever social media that he posted on?
Yeah.
Because, clearly he was planning on something by the fact that he was on, what did they say? He was on this machine, if I'm not mistaken.
He was on a treadmill.
Yes, he's on a treadmill. Thank you, Joan. He's on a treadmill.
Loading a gun and aiming.
Nobody thought that was kind of weird? Or is that
he was saying things like, don't be surprised when we go berserk.
Joan, Sam, don't you know that you're sounding awfully transphobic?
Yes.
That's the problem.
Would it make me transphobic if I was actively shopping handguns?
Here's the thing. Clearly, this guy had a lot of problems. Clearly, there were signs that were either missed or ignored. And I don't know, the Canadian shooting, I don't know if there were missed signs there or signs that were ignored there as well.
Actually, very similar postings. This kid posted on their social media of them at the range. And, the guns had been taken from the home once. Mm-hmm. And they managed to come back into possession of them, maybe through their parents somehow, but...
Well, I've had my picture taken at a range. That's not a warning sign. But if he was talking about violence, if he was threatening people, speaking in a threatening manner like this guy was here in Rhode Island, then, they clearly missed something. And I think that, and particularly in Canada, I'd be willing to bet, they're probably afraid to say anything. Because they don't want to, stop me when you've heard this before, they don't want to be called, transphobic. Just like in Minnesota, with all of that fraud that was going on, nobody wanted to stop that because they didn't want to be called racist, right? So, I mean, guys, I've been saying this for so many years. So many years back when we used to call it political correctness. I said political correctness is going to destroy America. And so here we are now in 2026, and, you know, it's called different things now, woke or whatever it is that you want to call it. But people are dying.
Yes.
People are dying, and nobody wants to, you know, really take a good look at the violence that is happening within this community. I mean, look at what happened here in Nashville with the Covenant shooting. I mean, sometimes it just drives me nuts. Because, I mean, I hate to say that, you know, we have all the answers. Clearly we don't. But obviously one of the answers is let's have a good, long, honest conversation and a brave conversation about what is happening in our country and in our world, where we have these people that have gone through these transitions. They're taking these hormones. They're having these procedures done. And then they resort to violence, like killing children, killing their children, killing other people, whatever it is. And then everybody says, gee, that's weird. Well, why don't you look at the pattern that we're seeing? I'm not even surprised anymore. Unfortunately, this is just the latest in a series. It's certainly, obviously, clearly not the first, and it's clearly and obviously not going to be the last. So I don't know what you can do about it, but I think maybe if somebody saw this guy's social media and they didn't do anything about it, they didn't warn the family, they didn't have some law enforcement take a look at him and say, well, gee, maybe we ought to make sure that this guy isn't planning something horrific. I guarantee you, the mom in the case, the ex-wife in the case, who is now dead, I'd be willing to bet that she had already spoken to the authorities about maybe some sort of a restraining order or something. Yeah. I don't know. But then we start talking about red flag laws, and then it gets all muddy, and it's just, I don't know. It is frustrating to me that innocent people, innocent children continuously are being shot and killed. We are seeing violence within the transgender community. And it's frustrating because nobody seems to want to have an honest conversation about it. Am I about right on that one?
Oh, here you go.
Oh, is there nothing? Okay.
There's another story.
Okay, go ahead.
In Virginia, parents are furious after a new trans school counselor begins seeing kids at LCPS. So that would be at...
It's a public
Loudoun
school.
Loudoun County Public Schools.
Well, you know what?
He's a guy with long hair and a beard, wearing a dress.
Of course
he is counseling children in Virginia. Thanks, Abigail Spanberger.
Virginia, I don't know how Matthew Hurt lives there. He's actually going to be joining us later on. He has said, as you know, Joan, because I know you know this, because you used to kind of sort of live in this area, Loudoun County is ground zero for this kind of stuff.
And it used to be so red. I had a friend, a high school friend. His brother was a state legislator there. Totally red family. Like that, Loudoun County was as red could get. But as more feds moved into the area and as the federal government beefed up, they had to go somewhere, you know? So they moved into Loudoun County and changed it horribly.
Yeah, there was a case paramount for the whole keep boys out of girls' bathrooms.
Yes.
Spaces out of there that just never, ever got dragged up into the national media at all.
Oh, it did. The young boy that dressed as a girl and then sexually assaulted the girl in the bathroom.
And then they just moved him to another school?
Yeah, well, that made national headlines because her father was the one that was dragged out of the meeting. Do you remember this story?
I remember that story, Joe.
I remember the guy getting dragged out of the meeting.
It was her father. He was saying because the schools kept on saying there was no sexual assaults that happened at this school. We've had no sexual assaults. And he's saying it happened to my daughter. And they had him hauled out and arrested.
And I bet that school board hasn't changed.
Not at all.
And they'll demonize, and here's the thing, they'll demonize a parent standing up for their children.
Yes.
but they won't demonize some guy who is in a dress and running on a treadmill loading a gun.
Which to the Canada shooter's credit, at least his mom defended him online for his choices, and he still killed her. Which there was no social media telltale signs that were necessarily that similar.
Right.
But on the documented online presence in that case, there was a consumption of an addiction to graphic, violent, gore content, beheadings, executions, torture videos. So
nothing unusual about that.
I don't care who you are in the population. I don't necessarily want you in possession of a firearm if that's your preferred content of consumption.
Well, and the other part of this conversation, I'm not going to dwell on this all day, but the other part of this conversation, I think you and I spoke about this off the air, Sam, is that in the Canada situation, you had the parents that just played right into it and was like, oh, okay, you believe that you're a girl. Okay, well, and they just, instead of trying to get to the core issue of the shooter's problems, they just steered right into the train wreck. And ultimately, with all of the other gore stuff you're talking about, it's not really a surprise. You look at it from the outside and you look at it and you say, what were the parents thinking? How did they not see that this would happen? Mario says the left always says it's the guns, but never say it is the drugs and the mental health. You're right, Mario. I say that it is the drugs. I say that it is the mental health. And that's something. And by the way, here's the deal. If you had a responsible, I'm positive. Sam, can you look up if this hockey rink, was it a gun-free zone? So I can guarantee you that if there was a responsible, law-abiding, two-way supporting person in there that was carrying, and they see this dude walking in with a gun and heading towards his ex-wife and his children in a crowded bleachers, responsible, two-way carrying guy or woman, whatever, would have been able to take this dude out. But Sam is going to confirm it for me. I would be almost, be willing to bet my lunch that this was a gun-free zone. Because it's probably a school, right? It's probably a school. And this is Rhode Island we're talking about, which, Joan, is Rhode Island, that's pretty leftist, right?
Oh,
I mean, it's on the East Coast, so yeah.
It was not a gun-free zone?
Really?
People are speculating that.
Whatever. That's surprising. I'm a little surprised by that. I actually almost don't believe it. Whatever.
Okay, so I don't know. There could be this. Another bullet point says the arena operating under school zone-like restrictions. I would imagine a school
That's
zone.
a gun-free zone.
Yeah.
Rhode Island maintains some of the strictest gun laws in the U.S., requiring a 7-day waiting period, background checks for all purchases, a mandatory blue card safety certificate for handguns.
You have to have a permit from the Attorney General to open carry.
Wow.
A lot of the states up there are just like that. You cannot open carry. You cannot conceal carry. You cannot
constitutional carry.
No, there's nothing.
And you often have to wait. Okay, permits are valid for 4 years only? Wow.
21 plus for handguns.
All right, well, anyway, so there's a lot of things to talk about as far as the shooting in Rhode Island and yet another act of trans violence. And this guy took out his ex-wife and other people as well. So do we know, did he kill his kids or injure his kids? Do we know what happened? Because I'm seeing conflicting reports.
Right, me too.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if all three of those people who are in the hospital are three of his kids, but because he has a fourth daughter who is talking about this openly to the press, so then he would have had to have 4 children. I'm not sure of that.
Yeah.
So we can keep on looking around because I'm with you. It's conflicting reports about that whole part of it.
All right, very good. It is 5:25 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Coming up, we are going to speak with Matthew Hurt. He is going to join us at 6:35, and we'll talk to him about life in Virginia under Abigail Spanberger. He is our grassroots political analyst. So we'll talk to Matthew And it's 7:35. We've got Mark Pody. State Senator Mark Pody is going to join us. The ICE facility that may be going up in Lebanon. Have you heard the latest on this, Joan?
Maybe.
Maybe.
It's so up in the air about whether this is really happening.
So now I booked the interview with Mark Pody, and then I read this morning that Wired, which is where this story started, where they come out with a story, Lebanon, Tennessee, there's going to be a big ICE facility, all of these things, people start freaking out. They may have gotten it confused with Lebanon, Pennsylvania. Have you heard this? So now It's like, wait a minute, no, we're not. They weren't talking about Lebanon, Tennessee. It was Lebanon, Pennsylvania. So nobody really knows.
You got the pronunciation of both right, though, because it isn't Lebanon, Pennsylvania. It's Lebanon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's pretty crazy.
So I'm sorry, Joan. What did you just say about my pronunciation?
It's pretty okay.
I got it right for once?
Pretty okay.
Because remember,
as far as I'll go.
I'm the guy that shanks anything all the time. All right, very good. You know, I think, Joan and Sam, that we don't need to worry about AOC running for president because this trip to Munich, I was, through the break, I'm just listening to all of this audio of the mistakes that she has made in Munich at this Munich Security Council thing. And she's out there and she's just making mistake after mistake. And part of this is that she sounds an awful lot like AOC,
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been.
Thank you. Kamala Harris. She's starting to sound like Kamala Harris. And here's the thing, is that she's going viral for the wrong reasons. So I'm going to play one, and this has a little bit of music behind it, but the headline is AOC, the only waitress in history who brings nothing to the table. Listen to this.
I think what we identify is that in a rules-based order, hypocrisy is vulnerability. And so I think what we are seeking is a return to a rules-based order that eliminates the hypocrisies around when too often in the West we look the other way for inconvenient populations to act out these paradoxes.
Drop it hard.
So, I mean, I don't know what in the world she was saying there, but she did sound an awful lot like Kamala Harris. It was like Harris-esque, if you will. And I guess the question that has to be asked is, why did she think, or why did her handlers believe that this was a good idea for her to go to the Munich Security Conference? Because she clearly wasn't ready. There's another one. Let's see here. You want to just play these, Joan? And listen to...
Uh-huh.
Hey, Sam. So when we know that Joan's not listening... No. Don't look at her. Look at me. So when we know that Joan's clearly not listening, we'll just play the so that I feel like at least she is kind of sort of paying attention, but in a recorded kind of way.
You sound so white.
That's what we could do. It's just when I could just pause and then we could just play a little Joan reaction and I'll just keep going.
Uh-huh.
There you go. Let's see here. This is AOC, and apparently, and I have not heard this as of yet. Have you heard this, Sam, about Venezuela? And apparently she doesn't know where it is as it relates to the equator?
Yes.
All right, here, listen to this.
You know, we look at what happened in Venezuela, for example.
Now, she has to, of course, she has to put the...
and it's not even that good. I'm sorry.
She has to put the little Spanish spin on it.
You know, we look at what happened in Venezuela, for example. It is not a... It is not a remark on who Maduro was as a leader. He canceled elections. He was an anti-democratic leader. That doesn't mean that we can kidnap a head of state.
She is so wrong on this. Well, okay, hold on. That's not even the point. The point is...
And engage in acts of war just because the nation is below the equator.
So...
I will trade 10 anti-Maduro Venezuelans for AOC.
Well, and here's the deal. Apparently, they say none of Venezuela is below or south of the equator. So she got the location of Venezuela wrong.
She was thinking Ecuador.
And
she got applause for that. Now,
that tells you just about everything you need to know about the world stage.
That's exactly right. Hey, look, Joan's back. Joe, did you hear everything that happened when you were gone?
No, Dan, I didn't.
That might be for the best. So number one is you have AOC talking about how we kidnapped Maduro. We didn't kidnap him. We arrested him.
And head of state implies that he was lawfully elected.
Yeah, legally elected or through a credible election. And he wasn't. I mean, there was nobody except maybe Maduro who would agree that he was somebody who was legally elected or that the people actually voted him in Venezuela. He didn't. Or Venezuela, as AOC likes to say. There are some people that are far smarter than me that are saying that this may be, at her own doing, the end of any presidential aspirations that she may have had.
Oh, my gosh, she could come up with a new signature cocktail. Presidential aspirations.
That could be what would be in it? Disappointment. There you go. By the way, Donald Trump, because I forget, what was the audio that I played yesterday? I don't have it handy. There was something that it was in the news yesterday that she also screwed up.
Her answer to Taiwan and China.
Oh, yes, Taiwan and China. So President Trump was asked about this last night, and this is what he had to say about AOC.
By the way, I watched AOC answering questions in Munich. This was not a good look for the United States. I watched Gavin Newsom answering questions in Munich, and this was a bad look for our country. These two people are incompetent. And at least Hillary's competent. She's just Trump deranged. She was so deranged. She is.
I gotta say that I may disagree with Donald Trump on whether or not Hillary Clinton is competent, because I don't think that she is. But that's beside the point.
An angry woman, but I watched the other two speaking and answering basic questions. Look, Gavin has destroyed California, and AOC, I never heard her speak very much, and they started answering questions. She had no idea what was happening. She had no idea how to answer, very important questions concerning the world. But she can't answer questions concerning New York City either, because New York City is got some problems. By the way.
So, I mean, part of what Trump is saying is the reason why this looks bad for America is because we have people like AOC that are in the House of Representatives who can't answer basic, simple questions. And you would think that she would know these things. By the way, I like there's a meme out there. I wish we had video. When are we going to get that back, Sam? When are we going to get the ability to show video again? Anybody know? So there's a video where AOC is, you know what? I'll post this to my ex. That's what I'll do. I'm reposting it. There's a post to my ex where it's AI, and it shows Trump walking behind AOC as she is trying to answer some of these questions. And it says, dumb as a box of rocks. That's funny. Let's see here. Apparently, there is another moment. This is how AOC giggles and pushes for a wealth tax in America expeditiously. Yeah. Again, this is, let me see if I can find out. You got that Taiwan clip? Go ahead and play it real quick.
Would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is this is, of course, a very longstanding policy of the United States. And I think what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point.
I think that what we are hoping for is that we never get to that point.
I used to have a Kamala Harris gong. You know what I mean? Like the Chinese gong. If somebody says something really wisdom-filled. I think I'm going to have to bring that back for AOC.
Would you overplay it like everything else, Dan?
She's
Yes,
not done.
Joan, I would.
She's not done. We needed to marinate in that sentence real quick.
And we want to make sure that we are moving in all of our economic research and our global positions to avoid any such confrontation and for that question to even arise.
But they asked you the question.
Joan, this does look bad for America, that we have politicians that cannot answer basic questions of foreign policy.
Well, I think that the left has been putting themselves on that pedestal for a while, like, hey, we're the left. And then they send AOC and Gavin Newsom there, who ends up he's in Germany, getting ever so close to calling President Trump and the right Nazis.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're obviously not sending our best either.
Well,
didn't AOC try to lecture the Germans on whiteness?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
She did.
I'll have to find that audio.
Yeah, I'm going to. That's the irony there.
Yeah. So, obviously.
I think I found my Kamala Gong. Hold on. Let me see if this is. Hold on. No, that's not it.
It doesn't sound like it.
I'm going to have to find it. I'll find it. Dude, people who have listened a long time know I used to have this Kamala Harris gong, and every time she'd say something really dumb, I would play it. And then, of course, as you pointed out, Joan, I would play it, I'd play it, and I'd play it until people got sick of it. And
it sounds just about right.
That tracks.
That tracks, yes, if we want to sound very Chris hip.
Mm-hmm. By the way, Chris and I were talking, he must have done this on the air, but Chris and I were talking about this behind the scenes where the Democrats aren't doing themselves any favor. One of the other things that they did, you're talking about sending their best, because you said Joan, you said we're not sending our best.
Which is what President Trump said about Mexico.
Right. So, But here's the thing. We did send, the Republican Party sent our best. You know who we sent? We sent Marco Flippin' Rubio.
Yeah.
Did you hear his speech?
He's just a bomb.
Oh, my goodness gracious. I've got audio from Marco Rubio's speech. I've got it. I don't have time to play it here. But it's about 4 or 5 different cuts.
I play it today because it's really good.
Oh, it is spectacular. He got a standing ovation, as a matter of fact, from all of those, tight-butted Europeans. So anyway, the Democrats sent AOC and Hillary Clinton, right? So Hillary, and there is audio of Hillary Clinton, and they asked her about she and Bill, their ties to Jeffrey Epstein. And one of the things that she said is, we have no ties to Jeffrey Epstein, which obviously is silly because clearly Bill was photographed in a hot tub with Jeffrey Epstein and other people as well. And it is obviously noted that they have all of these different mentions in the Epstein files. And granted, Donald Trump does too, but with Trump, it is acknowledged by literally everyone that he was a whistleblower against Epstein. Nobody can say that about Bill and Hillary Clinton. So for Hillary to say, we have no, and I'll find the audio, but for Hillary to say, we have no ties to Jeffrey Epstein is obviously and clearly a lie. So Republicans, we sent our best to the Munich Security Conference, and the Democrats clearly didn't. They sent AOC, and do you know what I wonder, Joan? Actually, this thought just occurred to me.
What's that?
Do you think it's possible that the Democrats sent AOC basically so that she would be outed as an empty suit, so that could clear the way for a Gavin Newsom?
Ooh.
You know what I mean? In other words, they torpedoed their own.
Too much credit.
Am I giving them too much credit for being politically smart?
I think they forgot she was a bartender.
Well, if you forgot before, you were reminded this past weekend.
That's all I saw, and I found the audio about her lecturing Germans on whiteness.
You want to play it real quick?
Yeah.
Go ahead. I have not heard this.
Difference between whiteness and national, like your actual culture, right? Whiteness is an imaginary thing. Being German is real.
Okay, we should probably move on.
Being white is also real.
Tim, AOC, empty skirt. By the way, I did hear that. We played that yesterday, didn't we, Joan?
We did.
Yeah, we played that yesterday.
Yeah.
This show is I have so much fun on this show. I might be the only one, but I have so much fun on this show that like it just flies right by, and I don't remember what I do from one day to the next. Tim says AOC, empty suit. I want to make sure I don't read anything that I shouldn't. Maybe I'll read some of these a little bit later on. Brain cells dying just listening to this word salad, says 8465. So you know what's happened, Joan?
What's that?
What's happened is AOC has graduated from a bartender to a waitress, and she's delivering word salads.
That's good.
Sam, do I get a rim shot?
That's more Kamala cackle territory.
All right, fine.